What's the unpopular opinion that you have about parenting that you know is going to make a lot of parents mad?
Just because your kid turned out to be a good person doesn't mean you were a good parent. Sometimes a kid will turn into a good person in spite of you, not because of you.
What's the unpopular opinion that you have about parenting that you know is going to make a lot of parents mad?
That most of the time parents who use the phrase, you won't understand until you have children, but till then you don't understand, is a phrase that parents often just use to avoid any criticism. I'm sorry, having children doesn't make you a fucking genius. You're gonna need help from other people and other perspectives. There is a fundamental difference between someone saying, like, they don't understand what I go through in a day. Like, they don't really have to think about all the stuff I have to think about. And they don't understand because I popped out kid and I'm smart and wise. The wisdom comes from experience and doing a good job. And some parents kind of like to hype themselves up a little more without actually asking the opinions of their children and how that ended up for them. And some of the wisest advice has literally been from my sisters and people who do not have children, because they also remember what it was like to be that kid. Phrase is a cop-out from accountability.
What's the unpopular opinion that you have about parenting that you know is going to make a lot of parents mad?
I have 3 kids. They're 5, 7, and 9 years old. 2 girls and 1 boy. I do not censor my kids whatsoever. So when the mood arises for them to cuss, they'll cuss, and I don't give a fuck. Hell, sometimes I tell them to cuss. Then do as adults, might as well practice now. I'd much rather learn here at home than versus at school. Well, they just cuss willy-nilly when they found out the word fuck. I let my kids argue with me. If they have a good point, I'll hear them out. Yes, Karen, that means it's not my way or the highway. Now, if we're arguing just for the sake of arguing, I'll shut it down, but if they have a really good point, I hear it out and validate that. As a parent, I have to earn their trust and respect. They're just not going to give it to me because I'm their parent. It doesn't work out that way. I also don't adhere to gender rules. Fuck that. If my son wants to wear a dress, I'll let him wear a dress. Yes, that means I go, oh, you look cute. And since my kids are POCs, I talk about racism. And yes, that even means I talk about microaggressions. Because I want my kids to know when your racist brats are freaking being racist towards my kids. They're not going to be blind to it.
What's the unpopular opinion that you have about parenting that you know is going to make a lot of parents mad?
So before our daughter was born, we decided that we weren't going to lie to her about Santa Claus and the Tooth Fairy and Easter Bunny because of the psychological trauma that occurs with children when they find out that their parents have been lying to them for years and years and years. There's a lot of research on it. So instead, we did something different. We focused on the traditions of the holidays and made sure she understood the stories and the history. And when she was of a proper age, 2 or 3, I believe, we asked her if she wanted to pretend that these things were real. And she did that with the Tooth Fairy, and she did that with Santa Claus, not with any of the others. So she still got to have the fantasy and enjoy the fun without all of the trauma of lying to her for years.
What's the unpopular opinion that you have about parenting that you know is going to make a lot of parents mad?
This is about to be a big unpopular opinion, but here we go. Other than adoption or foster care, biologically bringing a child into this world is pretty narcissistic. When you are choosing to bring a child into the world, you are not thinking about that baby. All you are thinking about is how it's going to make you happy now that you have a child, or how now you finally accomplished having a child. And even if you are thinking about how that child's life is going to go and how they're going to have to deal with life, you're thinking about your own projection and your own assumptions about how their life's going to go. You don't know what's going to happen to that baby. Why do you feel the need to have a tiny human that is essentially programmed to love you and cannot leave you no matter what? It's feeling a little unhealed. Argue with your mama.
What's the unpopular opinion that you have about parenting that you know is going to make a lot of parents mad?
There is a popular mantra out there that a lot of parents recite. It goes something like, as long as your kids are fed and clothed and have a place to live, you're doing amazing. And I think that that is simply not true. Covering your kids' basic needs is the minimum that you should be doing as a parent. It is entirely possible to cover your kids' basic needs of food, clothes, and shelter and still be a horrible parent. If you feed, clothe, and give your kids shelter, that's great. But do you also care for their emotional needs? Do they know that you love them? Do they feel safe in the environment that you've given them? Do you treat your child like a human being rather than just an extension of yourself? Do you educate yourself on your child's developmental needs? I don't have enough time to name all of these factors, but my main point is that doing the bare minimum for your child is not good enough, and we need to stop pretending that it is.
What's an unpopular opinion on parenting that might make other parents mad?
Spanking your child is a lazy and selfish way to manipulate kids to do what you want them to do. Not only are you instilling that fear into them, but you are showing them that it is okay to physically hurt someone that you love. I don't care about this, tough love that. Do you as an adult respond well to being smacked in the face or smacked in any part of your body for not complying or not wanting to do anything that you are told to do? Also, young kids are still learning to articulate their words and feelings, and it is just crazy to me that when a kid is throwing a tantrum because they're tired and they don't know how to, voice their needs, that they just get hit in return because the parents just can't handle it. They don't take the time and the patience to figure out what is wrong with my kid. Why are they acting this way? Instead, they just smack them. And then your kid grows up thinking that every little thing that they do, they're going to get hit. So they're most likely to hide things from you, keep things from you, not want to tell you everything that's going on in their life because they are afraid that they are going to get hit by this parent who claims to love them so much and wants the world for them, but yet it's so easy to just turn around and put your hands on them because they do something you don't like, instead of using your words as an adult and teaching your kids about communication and just communicating with your child. You brought them into this world. You owe them that. You owe them that respect to not put your hands on them, especially if you love them so much. You don't hit people that you love. You just don't. And there are some parents out there who are like, well, I was spanked as a kid, so I'm going to spank my kids. What? You may have seemed to turn out okay, so you think, but many of us did not turn out okay. A lot of us grew up resenting our parents. We grew up with our own trauma and couldn't go to our parents for it because we felt like they weren't a safe space for us because they put their hands on us. They showed us that if you love someone, it's okay to hurt them, which it's not. It's never, ever okay to put your hands on anyone, let alone put your hands on someone that you love.
What's the unpopular opinion that you have about parenting that you know is going to make a lot of parents mad?
It is your job as a parent to set up your child to live the life that they want to live as fully and as healthily as possible. It is not their responsibility to set up their life to take care of you in the future. I feel like this is something that my generation is currently struggling with their parents. And yeah, I can say a lot of things about how we don't treat old people very well. Our government doesn't. There's not a lot of options for them. There's a lot of limited resources. There's a lot of things that suck. But it is not fair to expect and be upset and to manipulate your children into taking care of you because you don't know how to take care of yourself.
What's the unpopular opinion that you have about parenting that you know is going to make a lot of parents?
I'm probably going to catch some flack for this. But stop parading random men and women around your kids. If you're a single parent, do what you do. Date who you want to date. Sleep with who you want to sleep with. That's your prerogative because you're a grown-ass adult. But don't bring them around your kids. If it's not someone that you don't see yourself building a future with, if it's not someone that you don't see being a positive role model in your children's life, then don't have a revolving door at home for your children to witness. Don't make them think that that's normal. And stop leaving your babies with these people you sleep with because they're good to you. You like them. We got too many babies getting hurt. Too many.
What's the unpopular opinion that you have about parenting that you know is going to make a lot of parents mad?
If you have not been to therapy, taken some kind of psychology level class, and really worked on getting over any trauma that you have experienced in life, then you are not fit to be a parent. A lot of people think that, all it takes is financial stability to be able to raise a child, but it's so much more than that. It's not always about how much money you have in your bank account. It's also about how healthy you are mentally. Are you emotionally intelligent? Are you emotionally mature, period? Are you aligned with yourself?
Do you have self-awareness? Can you actually provide for a child in all aspects of life to make them a productive and healthy member of society? And a lot of y'all can't say yes to that. And it's just the hard truth. Sorry.
Unpopular opinion that you have about parenting that you know is going to make a lot of parents mad.
Our kids are more of a byproduct of what they see in us than what we say. And if fear is your only mechanism for disciplining your children, you're doing your children a complete disservice. As a matter of fact, you should respect your kids as much as they respect you.
What's the unpopular opinion that you have about parenting that you know is going to make a lot of parents mad?
Some of y'all probably should not have become parents. Brushing past the parents that had a kid to save the marriage, let's talk about the fact that the control issues. Like kids being expected to be an adult when it's convenient for the parents, but still, 10 years after reaching adulthood, I'm still seen as a child, and therefore can never be right because I'm not as old as a pretty particular parent. If you need that kind of control over another person, across everything from clothes to people that I can hang out with to the fact that I was never allowed to bring anyone home, maybe don't have kids. Because not having kids is gonna be a lot better for everyone than having a kid and then putting all of this bullshit on them for them to deal with as an adult.
What's the unpopular opinion that you have about parenting that you know is going to make a lot of parents mad?
So I personally don't think these are unpopular opinions. I feel like it's just common sense, but people are bound to disagree, so whatever. A lot of parents are the biggest hypocrites. They expect their children to acknowledge when they're wrong, apologize when they're wrong, and take accountability, but they can't do the same. And then when children call their parents out on their bullshit, oh, then all hell goes loose. And then now they're disrespectful, now they're talking back, now they want to act grown. But why do you have the same expectations for them if you can't do the same? A lot of parents like to preach respect and respect your elders, but honestly, a lot of them don't give their children a reason to respect them. And they don't realize that respect goes both ways. In order to get it, you need to give it. A lot of parent-children relationships goes to shit because the parents fail to realize that they fucked up, honestly. They neglect their children, they refuse to listen to their children, they don't listen to their needs, they don't take them serious, and then one day when they want nothing to do with them, they're crying and wondering why. Well, that's because of...
What's the unpopular opinion that you have about parenting that you know is going to make a lot of parents mad?
If your kid is dishonest with you, it says way more about you than it does about them. Because it shows that you've done absolutely nothing whatsoever to gain your kid's trust and to keep it. Trust is a two-way street. In order for your kid to want to be honest with you, you also have to be mature enough to handle the truth. And as long as you freak out or get angry whenever your kid is honest with you, they will not trust you because you are intimidating your child into dishonesty. And I have plenty more unpopular opinions to share than just this one, so buckle up, bitches.